And welcome back, rugby fans, to Rugby411. As always, I'm your host. My name is Joshua Shibata. And, I was debating about doing a video like this, but I thought, why not? Again, you can find a lot of these best of or awards given out to sports players, but I decided why not? We followed MLR on this channel for the entire season. We saw a lot of great players, a lot of great plays, a lot of great moments. Why not hand out a few awards? So these are, of course, my opinion, unofficial, no actual hardware to give, but just a nice little shout out to some very hardworking individuals who did some amazing things this last season of Major League Rugby for 2022. So, Rugby411's MLR Top 15. So, I'm basically creating who I feel are the best players in each of the 15 positions on the pitch. We also are giving an award to the best back, to the best forward, and who I feel is the player of the year. So, before we start with the top 15, just a little preface. Some of the positions, if you're not 100% familiar with rugby, some of the positions have two players playing a certain position, like the props, locks, wings, centers. And sometimes a player can play both, even though some positions, actually all those positions, even as something as slight as the left lock or the right lock or the tie head prop or the loose forward prop. Sometimes those are very specialized positions, but some players are able to play both. So what I tried to do is I tried to pick a player specifically for that position, that number that they would wear on their jersey. But sometimes during the season they were playing both. So I might have had to slightly slide them over just because they did such a great job, and it was hard to differentiate between the two positions. They were so good at both. So if there's a certain position where you feel like, hey, they weren't always playing that position, they were pretty good to play both sides of it, and that's why I picked them. So a little bit of semantics, but I think I did a pretty good job in differentiating specifically which side of the position these players play. So let's go through my top 15, and we'll start with the number one spot, the loose head prop, Chance Wingluski, from the now 2022 MLR champions Rugby New York. Chance was not only very entertaining on the pitch, but had a great YouTube channel show with Pago Haini. If you are a fan of Rugby New York, would have saw that the Pago and Chanko show. But Chance Wingluski was amazing on the pitch, in the top 5 for ruck arrivals in all of MLR. Ruck arrivals, if you're not familiar, basically when a ruck is formed, Chance was the one that would usually be there first. It's a very crucial part of play in rugby, and if you can get a player that's that quick like Chance and that big like Chance, you're probably going to be more dominant on the field with possession of the ball, which is very, as we all know in rugby, is pretty crucial. So Chance Wingluski, your top number 1. Number 2, the hooker position, Marco Jans van Rensburg from ATL. Marco was part of just a dominant offense for most of 2022. He tied for 4th overall in the entire league with 9 tries scored. No easy feat to do. Marco Jans van Rensburg is your top hooker in my position for the number 2. Number 3, the tight head prop now. I'm going for Juan Pablo Zeiss, who plays for Houston. The Argentinian was, again, one of the top 5 ball carriers in all of Major League Rugby, which, again, is a guy that even though he is a big prop, he loved to carry the ball. So it's, again, an amazing thing to have a guy that big be able to run with the ball, hard to tackle. He may not have scored a lot of tries like some of the backs, the wings, the centers, but again, if you can get the ball moved towards the goal line and you can then give your team a chance to settle into your opponent's territory, that's a great player to have, and that's exactly what Juan Pablo Zeiss did for Houston. So the Argentinian national player, 4 times cap for Argentina, is your tight head prop of the year for me. Number 4, the left lock side, Luke White from the LA Guillotines. He recently was capped 50 appearances in MLR, which again is an amazing feat in itself. But Luke White, for those of you who follow the LA Guillotines, pretty much the second in command. A lot of people say is the soul of the LA Guillotines. Just a wonderful player to watch. Very aggressive, very strong. Plays his heart out on the pitch. And off the pitch, just a wonderful, wonderful person to talk to. A very nice guy. Had many conversations with Luke. He's a great dude. So definitely I feel deserves that number 4 spot as the left lock. Number 5, the right lock position goes to Johan Momsen, another ATL player. Again, just like Marco Jansi van Rensburg, Johan Momsen, part of that high-powered offense for Atlanta, even though, again, a forward, strong, fast, big ball carrier, definitely deserving of that number 5 honor. Number 6, the blindside flanker goes to Lucky McCaffrey from the Austin Gill Gronies. Lucky, an Australian player, ended up in the top 3 for ball carriers. Again, you have a big guy that loves to run with the ball, hard to tackle. Just like ATL, Austin was a very high-powered offensive team, and Lucky was a big part of that, so he is your number 6 player. Number 7, open side flanker, goes to Slade McDowell from the New England Free Jacks. He was not only a try-scoring machine, scored 8 tries in 2022, he was also the second highest tackler with 232 tackles, which just boggles the mind that a guy can tackle 232 people in 18 weeks of action. It's simply amazing. He is made of something else. He's a hard-hitting player, fast on the pitch. Slade McDowell is your number 7 player. The number 8 position, literally the number 8, goes to, this was a hard one because there's a lot of great players in the number 8 position. Hanko Hermesheis from the LA Guillotines comes to mind. But this is a man. Another thing that I gave criteria for these positions is they were essential to the success of their team. Like, if you did not have this player on the pitch, the chances of that team doing well suffers drastically. And I don't think any player symbolized that more than this individual who earned the number 8 honors, Rickard Hatting from the Seattle Seawolves. Again, Seattle surprisingly made it to the MLR Championship. And I say surprisingly because even though they had a hot start, they were struggling through the middle of the season. And that's around the same time that Rickard Hatting was dealing with some injuries. So it just shows you again, when you miss a player as crucial as Rickard Hatting, it does affect the team. And that's why he deserved these honors more so than some of his other fellow number 8 players, who were all very, very talented. But Rickard Hatting, not only crucial as the captain to the Seattle Seawolves, he also ended up tied for second with tries scored in 2022 with 10. An astounding number as well. Another tough position to pick, scrum half at number 9. Lots of great scrum halves to choose from. Ended up going with Danny Tusitala from Old Glory DC. I mean, God, that guy, again, Old Glory struggled quite a bit. They lost their head coach through the middle of the season, was almost suffering a winless season. But then, things kind of turned around, and somebody I felt was very crucial to that turnaround, Danny Tusitala. Wonderful player to watch, exciting player to watch, fast, really has a great mind for the game, and that's what you need in a scrum half. Fly half, number 10. Again, tough competition. Obviously a player that came to mind, and, kind of sad that I ended up not awarding this guy, but giving him a shout out now. AJ Alatimu, who I feel is the player of the MLR Championship game and the playoffs as well, because, again, you talk about players who, without them, their team would not be successful. Without AJ Alatimu, Seattle may not have made the playoffs as well, but you cannot deny how hot Bodine Waka was for the New England Free Jacks. Their season didn't end the way that everyone predicted it would, including myself, but man, Bodine Waka, you cannot blame him for not trying to carry the New England Free Jacks to a championship. He was voted the Player of the Month back, I believe, in March or maybe in May for MLR, and man, well deserved. I would say he was the player of the first half of the season. Maybe not the second half because he was dealing with some injuries, but definitely the first half of the season. Bodine Waka is your fly half number 10 for my top 15. Moving on now to the backs, we got the left wing, and this was one that I felt this player kind of came out of nowhere, especially during the playoffs, especially during the championship game. And again, the season didn't end so well for his team, the Seattle Seawolves, but I definitely need to give him credit for the left wing position, number 11, Martin Iosefa. I grew up knowing him on the Sevens, USA Sevens team, was excited to see him make the transition as many Sevens players did to the 15 game. Had a slow start, but man, second half, the playoffs, just like when Seattle started taking off as well, Martin Iosefa was scoring tries and just making some dynamic plays. Ended up scoring 6 tries in the season, was a crucial member for the Seattle Seawolves during the playoffs and that push to make the MLR Championship. He is your number 11 spot. Number 12, inside center. A new member for the Atlanta Rugby ATL team, Will Leonard. Very, very impressive. He finished 7th in the league with meters carried. 1,230 meters he carried the ball. Again, an amazing feat if you think about it, how much endurance, conditioning that a person needs to have in order to do this. And Will Leonard, again, that high-powered Atlanta offense, Will Leonard was a big contributor to that. Number 13, outside center. We talked about meters carried. Billy Meeks, you're representing the LA Guillotinis. He was the top meters carried in the entire league, 1,650 meters. That boy ran with the ball. Again, very, very impressive. You know, it's one thing to want to run with the ball, but, you know, unless you're scoring a try or unless you're going to have an offload, more than likely you're also going to get hit. So, you know, in rugby, you can't get hit unless you're carrying the ball. In order to run with the ball and carry with meters, you have to have the ball with you. So you are basically forcing yourself to be a target. So you have to be fearless. You have to be willing to take hits. And Billy Meeks is definitely that kind of person. A wonderful player. Again, a great player to talk to after the game. He has a great Instagram. Follow him, Billy Meeks. He explores all over the Santa Monica area. Very, very cool, very, very chill cat to get to know. So your outside center of the season for me, Billy Meeks. Number 14, your right wing is Lawena Futi from Seattle Seawolves. Picked a lot of Seawolves for this one, but again, considering the results of the season, it's not surprising. Futi was a great offensive weapon for the Seattle Seawolves, scored 4 tries in the season. An amazing player, well-deserving of the number 14 spot. And last but not least, at the fullback position, number 15. Again, another position that was very, very hard to figure out considering you have so much talent. Joe Peterson, Joaquin de la Vega Medina. Just a very tough position to just pick one, but had to go with, again, another Seawolves, Duncan Matthews from the Seattle Seawolves. 203 meters he had the ball carried. That was the top in the playoffs. He ended up 5th in meters carried, 1,286. Again, takes a different type of person to want to put yourself out there, to getting hit, to making contact, running with the ball throughout the game, especially considering we know how hard it is, how hot it can be in some of the places that they play. So being that active, being that condition, and helping your team score tries or get into position to score tries makes you very, very crucial to your team's success. And, you know, looking at our 15, pop the list up right here. You see, the Seattle Seawolves pretty much own that backfield. It's kind of impressive when I started looking at how this turned out. But a pretty good. Again, if we were going to talk about dream teams, all star teams, I'm pretty happy with this top 15. Now moving on, we're going to go with individual awards: best backs, best forward, player of the year, best back. This is the back half of the team. Some people would say was more the offensive side of the team. Again, a lot of great players to choose from, but had to go with the man who won it last year by the MLR. He was officially given Best Back Award by the Major League Rugby. It's going to be Billy Meeks from the LA Guiltinis. I believe he was the best back of the year. Again, top meters carried. Very crucial to the success of the LA Guiltinis. Billy Meeks is your best back of 2022. Best forward was a little bit harder to choose. In the end, I went with Juan Pablo Zeiss of the Houston SaberCats, best forward. Again, just the guy carried the ball. He was aggressive, hard to take down. Just a man who did a lot on the field to help get the ball into opponent's territory and keep them there. So you can't ask more from a forward than that. So I gave the nod to Juan Pablo Zeiss. Now, the big one, player of the year. Again, this one was hard. A lot of great players to choose from. I kind of felt, just because of the way things turned out, the player of the year should be somebody in my top 15. Otherwise, it kind of wouldn't make sense to make a top 15 and not have one of them be your player of the year. So out of all the ones of my top 15, the guy I felt was the player of the year, very crucial to the success of their team, Rickard Hatting. The number 8, Rickard Hatting from the Seattle Seawolves. I felt, again, the success of that Seawolves team to make the championship, to come from almost being out of the playoffs, regardless of how they actually made it in. Seattle was, until the championship game, the hottest team going into that championship game, and it really is because of the captain, Rickard Hatting. So Rickard Hatting is my player of the year for 2022. So again, not official awards, but it's just something I want to give a shout out to. Congratulations to all those guys, all the boys that I picked. Congratulations to Rickard Hatting for being player of the year. Yeah. Let me know what you think about my picks. Let me know if you think I'm way off. Let me know if you think, let me know who your top 15 are in the comments below. And as always, it was a great, great season. I thank the MLR for providing a great year of rugby action, and I'm looking forward to 2023 and seeing who will be the top 15 and players of the year next year. So, as always, thank you very much for watching my video, and I'll see you on the pitch.